right? And I'm sick, man. They not finna sit up here and keep disrespecting the sister like the sister didn't do God's work and uncover the details on that call. I'm Jay Lava. I scour the internet so you don't have to. So kick back while we go over this interview real quick with Mr. Don Lemon. You heard?
Of developments and updates that are coming from, I hate to say both sides here because one's a victim and the other, of whatever happened of dying, and then the other is people who are defending themselves against whatever public opinion is out there. Okay, so here's the deal.
Straight up.
Hit the like and the thumbs up. It affects the algorithm. More people become aware of our conversation on our channel and the journalism that we're doing here in independent media. So first I want to tell you the breaking news as it relates to, as I said, this exclusive that we had. I'm going to talk about that. And then there's some breaking news coming up from there's a letter that has been sent to the head of the FBI and to the Attorney General in regards to this case. Okay, so like and thumbs up. Let me know where you're streaming from and you're watching us from. Charlotte, hello to you. Hello, Tennessee. Thank you all for joining. Okay, so I want to play this audio, and then we have an exclusive response from the law firm or the team that is representing the Nolan Wells case. This was on Dan Abrams' show. Dan Abrams on Sirius XM. You've been on this show. He's been on this show. He's a friend of the show. So I want you to listen to this and then the response from the legal team representing the Wells-Wansley family. Here it is.
Was Nolan Wells, were there messages missing out of his phone? And the second thing is
Absolutely
photos
not.
have come out. Yeah, they're saying that there were messages missing off of his phone. His phone was wiped. And another thing, there's pictures of, like with the modern day with people with cell phones and social media, there's pictures with adults on that boat. There, and one of the adults they're even saying is like an affluent crowd, judge, businessman. They were saying it's just kids, but they're adults there.
Right, but here's the thing that they're saying. I don't know who the they is, but go ahead. Tyler, you want to take this one? Or
yeah,
Ed?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I saw a headline a few weeks back that said Ben Crump and the family is going to allow the Jackson County Sheriff's Office access to Nolan's phone. You know what I never heard? I never heard him follow through with that. I have reason to believe, and I do believe, that they have not cooperated with law enforcement. I do not think that they have turned in Nolan's phone. And I'm willing to bet my reputation on that. I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department hasn't. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Edward, go ahead.
I'll just add something. And again, this is why you
hold on, Andy. So just folks are asking what we're listening to. And again, I explained in the beginning, if you're not here in the beginning, you probably didn't know. This is an interview with the attorneys for the boys on Dan Abrams' Sirius XM show. And they are saying that the family has not turned over the phone, Nolan Wells' phone, and they are saying that to their knowledge, and that there were not any missing text messages or anything that was wiped or scrubbed. That's what they are saying. Okay, continue on just a little bit.
Ground there or in the water. When I went to the island, when I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity on Friday, one of the things you notice right away is that there's no dock.
What? Hold on. Something happened to the audio? Hold on, y'all. What the hell's going on with the audio? Let me refresh. See if something's wrong with the audio. I can't hear nothing. Can y'all hear anything? Is back working? Because I couldn't hear it. Hold on, y'all, real quick. Is it y'all hear it? Okay, yeah. I feel the little lag here. Hold on real quick. I'm gonna refresh real quick. All right. We back. No, just hold on real quick. I got y'all. You know I ain't gonna do you like that. I'm gonna get it together for you.
That are coming
There we
from,
go.
I hate to say
Now,
both
hold on, let me
sides
get
here
it back.
because one's a victim and the other,
It's not.
I don't think they've cooperated at all.
Affluent crowd.
I want to hear all of
on
that.
Dan Abrams' show. Dan Abrams on Sirius XM. You've been on this show. He's been on this show. He's a friend of the show. So I want you to listen to this and then the response from the legal team representing the Wells Wansley family. Here it is.
Was Nolan Wells, were there messages missing out of his phone? And the second thing is
Absolutely
photos
not.
have come out. Yeah, they're saying that there were messages missing off of his phone. His phone was wiped. And another thing, there's pictures of, like with the modern day with people with cell phones and social media, there's pictures with adults on that boat. There, in one of the adults, they're even saying it's like an affluent crowd, judge, businessman. They were saying there's just kids, but there are adults there.
Right, but here's the thing that they're saying. I don't know who the they is, but go ahead. Tyler, you want to take this one? Or
Yeah,
Ed?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I saw a headline a few weeks back that said Ben Crump and the family is going to allow the Jackson County Sheriff's Office access to Nolan's phone. You know what I never heard? I never heard him follow through with that. I have reason to believe, and I do believe, that they have not cooperated with law enforcement. I do not think that they have turned in Nolan's phone. And I'm willing to bet my reputation on that. I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department hasn't. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Edward, go ahead.
I'll just add something. And again, this is why you
hold on, Andy. So folks are asking what we're listening to. And again, I explained in the beginning, if you're not here in the beginning, you probably didn't know. This is an interview with the attorneys for the boys on Dan Abrams' Sirius XM show. And they are saying that the family has not turned over the phone, Nolan Wells' phone, and they are saying that, to their knowledge, and that there were not any missing text messages or anything that was wiped or scrubbed. That's what they are saying. Okay, continue on just a little bit.
Ground there, or in the water. When I went to the island, when I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity on Friday, one of the things you notice right away is that there's no dock. There's not a boat launch. There's not a dock.
Okay, so what he's saying, so you heard what he said. He's saying that they haven't turned over, that they have not cooperated, and that now he's, and to his knowledge, that has not happened. So I don't know what they're insinuating or whatever. Okay, and he's saying there was not a dock, so what you had to do, he says in this, is you swim 50 or 100 feet to go in, and most people don't want to bring their phones in or what have you. So now we had this, I don't think we explained this yesterday enough, and I didn't realize it was an exclusive when I got it, to be quite honest with you. And then the team reached out and said, you're the only one who has this, and we're going to release it later on this afternoon. And so this is the letter from the attorneys who are representing the family. And as we do this, I want to tell you, we're going to bring in Charles from TMZ in just moments, and he's going to discuss this and other updates. But it says, please be advised that A.R. Smith Law PLLC has been retained to serve as a local counsel for the estate and family of Nolan Wells. Moving forward, I will be working alongside the legal team at the Ben Crump, and he goes on to say that. And it says, as the legal team has stated previously, including during our in-person meeting with Wells family and counsel, we have been and remain ready and willing to cooperate, arranging a joint forensics inspection of Nolan Wells' personal cell phone. During that meeting, we specifically discussed having an examination conducted through the digital forensics lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, as well as the possibility of FBI involvement in that process. Our position has not changed. We are prepared to coordinate a mutually agreeable date and procedure for the examination of the phone. Accordingly, to the extent there has been any suggestion that we have been unwilling to have or have failed to cooperate with the investigation, we want to make clear that this is not the case. You also previously indicated that Dr. Mitchell would be provided an opportunity to review the materials necessary for him to complete an autopsy review. We remain prepared to facilitate that process. Please provide us with available dates and times for Dr. Mitchell to review those materials, along with any instructions necessary to arrange his access. We would like to move both on these matters forward. We'd like to move both of these matters forward promptly and remain available to coordinate with your office. Very truly yours, Ahmed R. Smith, which is A.R. Smith Attorneys LLC. Okay, thank you for that, for sending that to us. Okay, so here is who I want to bring in, Charles Lataboutier, from his executive producer from TMZ. Charles.
Sorry, he's not. Like he walked away for a second. He'll be right back.
Oh, he walked away. Okay. Well, we'll get Charles on in a minute. So anyway, yesterday when we got this information, we reached out to the law firm. They have since said that they won't come on to discuss it. It was in the letter, whatever's in that letter, that's what it is. And basically this letter is saying that they have been communicative, that they have done whatever it is, a due process or whatever. But it is interesting, I'll just be honest, that the phone has not been turned over. Now, I understand that the family has concerns about the process. They have concerns about the investigative techniques that are being used, or as they said, not being used. And so they may be unwilling to do it because that, not having trust in the authorities there. However, I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I don't know what that means. Does that mean anything for the family or for for the investigators? I am not sure. It's interesting though, that this grieving mom and the folks who are in the investigators are sort of being pitted against each other. Here's Charles. Charles, I'm not sure. Are you there? Can you hear me, brother?
Yep, I can hear you, Don.
Hey, Charles, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Listen, I just, these details seem to be coming in this case. You never know when they're going to come. Again, I don't know if you if you heard me reading the letter, and now, this was sent out. What do you make of this?
I mean, it sounds like the family, I think you nailed it, saying that they're willing to work with the authorities, but they don't trust the authorities. And what I heard, the key thing there is they said they're willing to do a joint forensic examination of the phone. It does sound like they have been holding on to the phone. They don't want to give it to the authorities and let them and leave it to their device, to them to do their process without having their own investigator there at the same time. So it sounds like, basically what they're saying is we'll hand over the phone, but we're going to send our forensic investigator too, and they will sit there with your investigators and go through the phone. But it doesn't sound like they're willing to just hand over the phone and let the authorities do whatever they want with it.
Mm-hmm. So, but it seems, in some of these things, Charles, it seems like a long time, right? I mean, you and I were discussing what happened with some of the other high-profile cases and the toxicology reports and all of that, the autopsy reports, all the things. These things don't happen as quickly as people would think in real life, right? It's not like Law and Order where the case is solved and you get all the information within, an hour or 45-minute period.
No, it's definitely not like that. And, we were just talking about it this morning before our morning meeting that it's coming up on, I believe, 7 weeks now. Next week will be 7 weeks. And typically it's around that 7 to 8 week period where you start expecting that there could be toxicology results coming out. Not before that, but every department around the country is different. I'm basing that mostly on cases that we've covered here in LA, but I can't speak to how the process works down in Ocean Springs. But around 8 weeks is when you could say, what's going on here? And obviously, people have wanted the autopsy results, the toxicology results. They wanted it, 2 days after Nolan's body was found. It just doesn't work that way. But, if this thing drags on to, beyond 10 weeks, beyond 12 weeks, people are really going to start asking questions. And the question is going to be, and I understand why the sheriff has not wanted to discuss a lot of what's going on in this case. It's an open investigation, and I get that. But you also got to be realistic about the fact that this is an incredibly high-profile case with a lot of attention around the country and is creating a lot of divisiveness around the country. So, at some point you would think the sheriff has got to come out and say, look, here's where we are. We know everyone wants these results, but we just don't have it yet. And here's what's happening in our lab. They tell us it could be, give people a range or something so they have some expectations. But, that's not happening. And I don't think that it should have happened up to this point. I'm saying that in the next couple of weeks, if we don't hear anything, people are going to get very antsy, more so than they have been.
Charles, you've been saying, and now people are finally coming around. I don't know if you remember, I said that there should be a regular cadence of information that is being released or debunked from the investigators, right? Or we can't say that. And that is not happening. So in my opinion, they are helping to fuel this environment of, people who are speculating and just, filling in the void here, filling in the void online. So I agree with you 100%. I'm not saying that they have to come out every single day, but there should be some sort of, update, on the situation.
Yeah, I understand why you feel that way, Don, but I think from law enforcement side, you go, if we're going to come out and start debunking every theory that pops up online, then you got to pick and choose which ones. It becomes this slippery slope. Why did you debunk this one and not that one? Then people think that that's giving credence to the one that they didn't debunk. Maybe they just didn't see that one.
I agree with you 100%.
There are just so many theories.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying every single one. I just think that there should, there's some sort of. When was the last time there was an update, Charles? Wasn't it like when the sheriff came out and said it looks like an accident? We're looking at this as accidental. That was the last one that I've seen. So I think we're on the same page with this one. I agree with you. Not every single thing, but just in terms of, you saw the letter there from the attorneys. I just want to show people when they're basically what they're describing. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I have done these stories a lot. Is what's called a filter team, FILTER team. Or they call it a taint team. And if you look on your screen now, you'll see what that means, Charles, because this is not an unusual process. A filter team or a taint team, whatever, consists of prosecutors or agents selected to review materials seized in the course of an enforcement action to determine whether any of the materials are protected by the attorney-client privilege. These reviewers are specifically not a part of the prosecution team handling the enforcement action in which the search warrant was used. The taint team members are able to review the seized materials to determine whether any documents or communications are subjected to the protections of attorney-client privilege or the attorney work product doctrine. The guiding principle is the concern that exposure of the prosecuting team to privileged material may result in the exclusion of evidence should the matter come to trial or even the disqualification of a prosecutor. So basically, what they're saying is they want an independent third party to be able to analyze this. I know that, you know, Harvey is the lawyer here, but you've been dealing with these cases. So this is not an unusual process, in my opinion.
No, not unusual at all. It is a necessary step that they would be taking in the background here. But so little, anything that happens here is not going to be in the background when the attorneys get involved. And you're right, people shouldn't read too much into this. You know, it's interesting, they talk about the possibility down the road of prosecution. We don't know. We don't know if there's going to be a prosecution here. We don't know that there's been a crime committed. We just don't know anything. Certainly, I fully understand why a large number of people feel like there was a crime, but the reality is we just don't know at this point. So don't read too much into the fact that you see in this letter them talking about prosecution and talking about potential evidence. We just don't know yet, and this all comes back to getting the toxicology, the autopsy results. And you know, you're right, Don, that the sheriff seems to be ignoring the fact, and you could say from one viewpoint that this is commendable on his part, that he's not caving to public pressure, but you could also look at it and say that he's sort of burying his head in the sand and acting like this isn't a huge story with national importance. You could have a news conference where you come out and acknowledge that and say, yes, we've seen there a bunch of theories out there, but we can't start just, you know, optics matter. Optics matter when you have a case at this level, and the sheriff could really be helping himself out and his department out by acknowledging that. I'm not saying he's got to come forward and start debunking theories, but optics matter when you can have a news conference where you acknowledge, say this to people, and explain why you're not debunking, and explain why you can't talk about the evidence that you have or don't have, or the witnesses that you've spoken to. All those things make a difference and might calm down the public pressure on his department, on the ME's department, to actually come forward with some results.
Just one thing, because I know you're very busy. So you guys have I think you had an exclusive with one of the interviews, and also there was I think Nancy Grace reported that there was a new fight, but if you look at the Cajun Navy's report, it appears to be the same fight that was mentioned in that. Was there a new fight, and what do you make of now? I mean, because I don't think you would disagree that the Friends are on a PR, a PR blitz to change public opinion, because they believe that they in the court of public opinion, they're not doing so well, that they have been sort of demeaned in some way, disparaged in some way.
I think it's weird. I think it's weird. When Warren sat down with the guy, I know we don't like to say his name, sat down with him, I was like, okay, this one kid and his mom is a judge, and maybe he wants to sort of clear his name. But now every week, another friend sits down, or another friend sits down, and now they've got this lawyer, and they're sitting down and doing interviews. It's weird to me. And it's not just weird. There are people who are going to say things on the internet. Why does that rise to the level of you need an attorney to now sit down and do interviews to publicize yourself, to try and change the court of public opinion? Why do you care about a court of public opinion? Because you didn't do anything. And ultimately, if you didn't do anything, and maybe they didn't, let's take them at their word and their attorney, that they didn't have anything to do with Nolan's with Nolan's death. That's all going to come out when the results of the autopsy come out, when the investigation comes out. So why are you now getting? It's almost like I get like this attorney has probably convinced them, yes, do this and talk about this and it'll change public opinion. But what it really does, it makes some people will look at it and go like, well, what are you getting out in front of? If you didn't do anything, there's nothing to get out in front of. So in some ways it can backfire on you. It's just weird to me. And then you also run the risk of what did happen is that one of these kids sits down and blasts Nolan's mom and says that she was wrong to put out that photo. And that's not going to play well in the public for you, man. That you're attacking the mother of your best friend, who you're so distraught about losing him, yet you're doing an interview where you're attacking his mom.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. Like, that the old saying is, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, but also in the court of public opinion. And so I don't get why they're doing all these interviews.
Well, I have been saying, Charles, the kids are young, right? They're young men. To have attorneys and their families, for me, it's about the people who are advising them. First of all, you do a far right-wing, streamer. Okay, that's one thing, right? You're a kid, but then you keep going on, and it just seems like maybe we need to recommend a crisis PR person to them so that they can figure this. Figure this out. So it's not really so much about the young men, and I mean, and people. The internet is a tough. It's a tough place. Anyway, Charles, I don't want to keep your.
The more they say, it's like I get that if you're distraught about the loss of your friend, and let's say they are, talk about that and leave it at that.
Hey, Brittany.
If you feel like you must say something, but too much of it seemed like they're just defending themselves, and if they've done nothing, why are you so vociferously defending yourself?
There's a dog protest too much kind of feeling here again.
And you're right. Don, we do have to remember, like you said, I think that's so true. These are kids, and I was thinking as I was watching the interview yesterday, they're 18, 19 years old, even if some of them might be 20. They don't really know, and they're taking advice.
I'm not trying to hear that.
Their parents are taking advice from lawyers who get in their ears and say, "This is a good idea to do this." I just don't know that it necessarily is.
Yeah.
Let the evidence that the police find, let that speak.
Yeah, and look, again, we don't know what happened. Not saying that they did anything, but we are going to analyze the interviews and the media strategy and what the attorneys, if you hire an attorney and you put it out there and we're going to analyze it and talk about it. So that's just going to keep bringing it up back into the media.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Thank you, Charles. All right. We appreciate you joining us. Say hello to everyone over at TMZ. We appreciate the work that you're doing. Don. Okay. Thank you. We'll see you. Charles Lataboutier from TMZ. Okay. We have three great thought leaders and minds who are going to join us right in a bit. Reecie Colbert is here. Clay Kane is here. Tezin Figaro is here as well. We're going to talk about the breaking news that we have. More breaking news coming, this one out of Washington, D.C. regarding this case, that it may now get some national attention from the powers that be in our government. We're going to bring them on in a minute.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
That's what my mama always said.
Thank you. Bree.
Sleep or something.
Is it
journalist, author,
but deliberately, my mom just said
is Lemon. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. Appreciate that. We love our sponsors. They keep us powered. Okay, Reecie Colbert is a friend of the show and the host of the Reecie Colbert Show. She joins us. Clay Kane, also a friend of the show, journalist, author, and a Sirius XM host. He joins us. We're going to talk about the show that they had. We'll talk about that later. Very successful. I heard it was amazing. And then Tezin Figaro is a founder of Tezin Figaro Communications Group and a Florida Supreme Court certified civil circuit and appellate conflict conflict resolution mediator and trainer. She delivers communication strategies, political consulting, crisis management, and training. She's also a friend of the show. Thank you all for joining us. Teslin, we got this information. I must be honest here. I saw your post on it. I had not gotten the information yet. But Teslin, Congressional Black Caucus urges Attorney General Todd Blanche and the FBI Director Kash Patel to launch federal review of Nolan Wells' death. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely, Don. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
On. Good morning. So yes, the Congressional Black Caucus is now asking the feds, if you will, the FBI, to get involved, to launch an investigation. They are asking that 7 days, that they give a written response within 7 days. This is major news. Want to also just bring, just for clarity, and you know this, Don, and I think Reecie knows as well. I've worked with Attorney Crump as a senior public policy advisor since 2012. So every major case that Attorney Crump has been on, I've been affiliated with in one way or the other. So this is important that we talk about what needs to happen from the legislative side. And I'm a little bit on 10, so pardon me, but when we put it out this morning and folks were in the comments saying, you know, well, we can't trust, you know, this FBI, you know, well, why would we be bringing it to the FBI? Let me just do a little bit of straightening, if you don't mind, Don. Can I just have about 2 minutes just to straighten?
I don't think I can stop you, Teslin. Go ahead.
I'm trying to
give our other panelists some time to talk, but go on.
Yes, I will.
Go ahead, Teslin. You got it.
I just want to say this quickly, and all due respect, you know, to Dr. Umar Johnson. I saw his interview the other day on, you know, one of the platforms, The Art of Dialogue, where he was saying, you know, why is Ben Crump not taking this to the feds? You know, why are congressional leaders not taking this to the feds? And then immediately when this was put out, folks in the comments said, well, why are y'all taking it to the feds? So this is where I'm confused, Reecie, because some of these content creators also say we don't need to be involved in the political process. So if we're not involved in the political process, which has everything to do with who is in charge of the DOJ, and then you say take it to the feds, and then we take it to the feds, and then y'all in the comments saying, why did y'all take it to the feds? Then y'all say don't vote. I'm just confused. If anybody out there can get us a new Department of Justice by close in a business 5 o'clock, post it. The Congressional Black Caucus, Attorney Ben Crump, is doing everything possible in order to put it on the record. Nobody is saying that we're putting all of our hopes in the DOJ. I'm saying the same thing that I said in the civil documentary on Netflix, which is over 100 cities have changed policy as a result of these cases. People don't want to talk about that, Reecie, but that's just a fact. So we have to put it on the record. That's what FAMU College of Law taught me, to put it on the record so that if the feds don't do anything, if the state does not do anything to bring charges against whoever is guilty, now we have it on the record. And since the feds love doing hearings, let's do a hearing. I'm down. Y'all down? Because I'm down. Let's do a hearing. Let's do an open hearing. And let's bring in everybody, including these so-called attorneys who are now representing these so-called friends. And let's also be careful on keep saying friends. The family has said over and over, these are not the friends of Nolan Wells. I noticed the media keeps saying friends. I listened in a moment ago, but the family said they are not friends. So let's just put it all on the record. So let's do it wide open. Let's what everybody see. I'm gonna give the other panelists, but I do want to clarify some lies that have been going around on social media that I think is critically important. That I know Attorney Crump wants to get out as well. I'll turn it over.
Okay, just real quickly, and we'll come back to that because we were talking about the interviews, but I want the other panelists to get in. Reecie, you have been invoked because you said Reecie, just as you said, Reecie knows. So Reecie, what's your response? You know, we got the interviews, we got this from the Congressional Black Caucus, and also this is the letter, if we can put it up, actually the actual letter to the Attorney General and to the head of the FBI. And it says, Dear Attorney General Blanche and Director Patel, more than a month has passed since the tragic disappearance and death of 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells, and his family is still without fundamental answers about what happened to their son. The Congressional Black Caucus stands with the Wells family and joins their call for a full, transparent, independent, and timely investigation into the circumstances surrounding Nolan's disappearance and death. It is unacceptable that so many questions remain unanswered as the Wells family continues to suffer what is already an unimaginable loss. And then they go on and they talk about other things here, which we can get into later. But go ahead, Reecie. Good morning to you too.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Teslin, I think she broke it down perfectly. The reality is that we want answers. And the way that you get answers is by getting people to advocate on behalf of the family.
Right.
It's no different than we would want people to advocate for all these Black people who mysteriously turn up hanging from trees all of a sudden in Mississippi, and we don't get answers. And so when you have people understand the mechanisms with which that we can get answers from the DOJ, from the FBI, and to be clear, there are still career prosecutors, there are still career investigators that have not been politicized. We see prosecutors who have quit the DOJ because of their discomfort with some of the things. And Don, I think you can attest to that in your case. But I think that what I hear is that there are a lot of people coming from different angles who are putting out information, who are encouraging the release of information. The guys, I don't want to call them boys and I don't want to call them friends. If you were to believe what they're saying, they have a vested interest in the truth coming out. They have a vested interest in the investigation moving forward and their names being cleared if their name should be cleared. And the family does as well. I'm encouraged by any kind of step that moves forward with getting more hands on deck to understand what happened. What we do know is that foul play has not been ruled out because the independent autopsy has not ruled out that something may have happened. It has not definitively declared that it was an accidental drowning or anything like that. We don't have the state's results. And so until we know definitively what happened, if that's possible through an autopsy, these questions have to be asked, and as many people as we can to sound the drum, the better.
Mm-hmm. Clay, good morning, sir.
Good morning. There's something on my mind. If I could just take a minute. Like Tina Turner, something on my mind. And I wanted to come on last week, but I couldn't. I just want to say this really quick, and it ties into what y'all are saying. I saw the interview that you did with the alleged friend, Emmanuel. And I was so pissed off. I was so outraged by what he was saying about the state of Mississippi. Just a couple of key things. One of the things he said was that Emmett Till whistled at Carolyn Bryant. That's a Jim Crow lie. We don't know that. We know that's what she said. Then he went on to argue that because all these black folks are allegedly having children with white people or people who are non-black, that's proof that racism in the Magnolia State has changed or evolved, or it's not like what people think it is from looking on the outside. Strom Thurmond, the racist Dixiecrat, had a child with a black woman. Still racist. You know, Don, I have a black father and a white mother. My white mother's family was racist as hell to the point where they stopped speaking to her altogether. To see that man, I know he's not a politician, I know he's not a celebrity, but to see him come on here and tap dance like that, considering what's happening right now and the justice that the family is asking for is crazy. And then when you look at the data in Mississippi, black folks in Mississippi, I think the median household income is $37,000. For white folks, it's $68,000. All the data is there. So, and furthermore, Benjamin Crump never went to the state and said, this state is racist. He never did that. He didn't scream that. And so as what you were saying before, when people go in certain spaces and asking for justice, you're suddenly screaming racism. So Mr. Emmanuel, if you're listening, brother, I don't know who you're dating. I don't know who you're with that makes you feel more warm and fuzzy inside. But that was and to bring up Emmett Till.
Right.
Emmett Till. And to babble the shit that Carolyn Bryant said, who lived until her 90s. So it is a racism issue, but it's also a deep ignorance issue. And that's what's frustrating. And then to see those kids, not kids, grown-ass men, go on the former Officer Tatum show, who is like Candace Owens 3.0. I know Candace Owens has done a remix now and did all her rebranding. But Candace Owens, Diamond and Silk, this is just, as Frederick Douglass said about a man named Isaiah Montgomery in Mississippi, others will be dazzled by fame and imitate their bad example. We're not saying that this case is is solely about race, but to not see the intersection of it is crazy. And to say because black folks and white folks had some kids, that proves this thing is, we're past all that. As when I was just in Mississippi, there are still Confederate monuments. There are still, they honor places that were former plantations.
Right.
And whether it's Louisiana, Mississippi, my hometown of Philadelphia, that's the shit that's driving me crazy about this case. And if racism was a non-issue in the state, then all these issues wouldn't be coming to the surface.
And can I just say one thing? One person that we know we can rule out as a suspect, not just one, but I'll say this: Christine Wansley is not a suspect. She was nowhere near Horn Island. She was nowhere near that boat. So she doesn't have to defend herself for shit. Anything that she does as a mother trying to find answers to what happened to her child is completely fucking justified. She doesn't have anything to hide. You already broke down the letter as to their stipulations for which they will turn over the phone, because I think with reasonable suspicion and skepticism, they want to make sure that there's going to be independent and professional investigation into that phone. So what they're stipulating to and what they're requesting is 100% reasonable. So for anybody to go on TV and go on these stupid ass fucking interviews and sit up there and make her out to be the villain or make her out to be the suspect, this woman has been terrorized. She's had false complaints against her livelihood,
right?
The work that she does, in addition to losing her
Seth,
child.
And so, for real. Thanks, bro.
Regardless of what comes out, even if these, I'm going to say I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the ruling or who's a suspect or not a suspect. But shame on anybody, especially these guys, for trying to cast aspersions on a mother who has lost her child.
Well, and Don, I want to put this out here because I have told Tatum, who I was on News Nation with the first week, let's just have it live. Since you guys want clicks so bad, let's do it live. Let's call Versus up. I want a me versus Tatum. See, it's really easy, and I say this respectfully, but it's very easy for him to go back and forth with other commentators, to go back and forth with everybody else. Why don't you talk to me? I'm the only woman in the Ben Crump, and I'm not saying that to flex. I'm just giving facts. I'm the only speaker in the documentary for attorney Benjamin Crump, the only one in civil, Don. Why won't Brandon sit down with me, who actually talked to the family? Sit down with me that's actually worked with the attorney for over 15 years. Right. Let's go line by line by line so that I can debunk. Because, see, a lot of folks get to say, well, we don't know. See, I actually do know. I actually do know that when the prosecutor, that lie that they have out yesterday saying that Ben Crump never turned over the phone. See, I actually do know that the letter was given to them that said, give us the date and the time. We will go through the phone line by line. Let's stop bullshitting around, Don. Ask Tatum. Let's do it live. Let's not do, he said I can come to his show. I don't want to go to your show. I don't want you in charge of editing. I don't want you in charge of producing. Let's do it live, him and I, and let's go line by line by line, the timeline. I'm in contact with this family. I'm in contact with Attorney Crump. I know Attorney Crump's record through and through like the back of my hand. Let's really talk about it, Don. When these attorneys, who are Trump attorneys, by the way, the lead attorney is Trump attorney that have sued CBS on behalf of Donald Trump. Let's let the people go through and decide, do they want to believe Trump's attorneys or do you want to believe Ben Crump? Do you want to believe Brandon Tatum when he says that Ben Crump only defends when white people are involved? Or can I run down to you the last 10, 15 cases where everybody was black, plaintiffs and all, defendants and all? Do you want to believe Brandon Tatum when he says it's only about race? Or do you want to sit down with me so we can go through the 95% of the other cases that have nothing to do with race? See, it's very easy to sit up here and talk, Don, with people that don't have the information. I say that respectfully because I know everybody's doing their best, but I want to come on in the room, Brandon. Sit down.
You don't want that much truth, though.
But hold on, cousin, do it here. Do it here, and I'll just sit and let you guys talk. If you don't, no live, no editing.
No editing. Officer Teslin from the United States Air Force. Let me look in the camera. Teslin Figueroa, the security police officer, called AKA Defender for the Air Force, is here to serve. Let's do Officer Tez versus Officer Tatum, and let's get to it, and let's do it live, Don.
Calling cuz right on out. Where you at?
Let's go through the timeline. Yeah. Let's go through what the mama said. Let's go through what the friend said. Let's go through it each and every one. Let's stop talking the ring lights and let's get in the ring.
Teslin. Wow. Okay, so Teslin, let's just a couple of things that I want to ask you about. Because the friends have been doing these interviews. Let me just play this. I want to play this and then and then I'll ask my question. Play this. Roll this, Andy.
So like his mom blasting us on social media from the get-go, saying that he was out there with Warren and another guy. That's where it first started to take off. And then also the fact that she posted a picture of me and Morgan and another guy and Nolan on the boat together, blasting that out there, pushing this narrative, kind of, I guess. I wish that would have never happened either. And I don't think if those would have never happened, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been as viral or gone all over the country at this point. I mean, this is a countrywide news story that is just blown out of proportion. And the fact that it was our best friend and it's not what people are saying it is what hurts the most. I mean, that was our brother. I mean, straight up. That's what I told his dad the night that he came over to my house. He was like, blah, blah, saying something. I was like, dude, that was my brother.
All right, so listen, let me just say this. To say that the mom is, blasting, it's wow, that's just not. And look, again, these are young people. You guys, how you feel. I'm just saying that this is not a good idea for them to do these interviews.
Well,
if they're
actually,
trying
I want
to
keep talking. Yeah, objection.
As I was saying that, I was saying maybe it's a good idea
keep
for the family. Yeah, go on. What do you think?
Well, also, they were dealing with a missing child at this point.
Right, and wasn't there something you guys can? Did she put this picture out? If she's looking for her child, she's going to put a picture out of the people that they were with. But didn't they get the bathing suit color wrong or something? She was like trying. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, I'll be happy to correct it and to actually talk to the family. Number one, she literally said, like you would do with anybody else, this is the last time I saw my child. This is who he is with. Any investigation would say, well, who were they with last? Describe who the people they were with last. This is the last time I saw my child. So that was never on Christine. For him to sit there and say, I just wish she would have never did it. That's what hurt the most. Well, how the hell do you think she's hurting? How do you think she's feeling? And again, dude, when he said, well, I told his dad, dude, that was my best friend. If you was the best friend, you wouldn't have never had to introduce yourself as the best friend. So let's stop this narrative on this friend. And let's also, I say this respectfully, Don, these are not boys. These are grown men who are sitting there next to an attorney who is literally allowing, encouraging them to make these statements. And on behalf of FAMU College of Law, I want you to continue talking. Y'all not talking enough. Keep the podcast mics on. Keep on talking about it. Because see, there's something called discovery. And the same way that they are also trying to intimidate content creators, by saying that content, including you, Don, who's also on the list, by saying content creators can't talk, jeopardizing people's First Amendment. Yeah, let's keep it going so that we can bring everybody's statement into discovery. So yes, this is a national case. It should be a global case. Let's really get down to it. So I appreciate you, Don, saying they're doing the wrong thing and they shouldn't be doing. I'm here to say, keep it up. Y'all not talking enough.
Well, I didn't say that they were boys. I said that they were young men, and I think the adults are at least wiser than they are. I don't think it's wise because to go out there and blast a mother. That's what I mean by that. I don't think it's wise.
They don't care about that though. But see, that's the whole thing. See, this attorney. Let me just go ahead and call a thing a thing. In the letter, in the donation, it says they're coming after Attorney Crump. So even though you're looking at it from a crisis comm standpoint, I have a crisis comm firm. I get that, but they're not looking for wisdom. They're looking for how can I make sure that I take down Black America's Attorney General. This is way bigger than just Nolan Wells. We've never seen a lawyer from the other side, because typically being is suing the state. So you don't see a lawyer pop up and say, I'm willing to take on Attorney Crump. His name is mentioned all throughout the donation, and notice how they mentioned it there. Brandon Tatum is very clear about who he is targeting. So they're not concerned about getting to the root of this. They're concerned with making this a larger issue to say that anybody that comes and defends Black life, we are now going to counter. We're going to counter with lawsuits. We're going to counter with social media. We're going to counter with interviews. And I'm saying we're here for it. We got lawyers too. We got ink and toner too.
Right.
We too can countersuit.
Right.
So they're not concerned, Don, because if they were, any lawyer would tell them to shut their mouth. So why don't we have the hearing so that the grown men who were last seen with Nolan Wells, I'm not accusing you of anything except being the one that was last seen, according to his mother, with Nolan Wells. We would love to know if somebody else saw Nolan Wells. Let's have the hearing so we can see it, because as it stands right now, Mississippi has not given information to the parents. That's just the facts. So to say that he's not, that they're not cooperating is a lie. For Brandon Tatum to say, well, why didn't Ben Crump give him access to the boat? Dr. Umar said the same thing. It wasn't Ben Crump's boat to give them access to.
Exactly.
So let's stop bullshitting, and either we're going to do a real case or we're going to do a media case. And if we're going to do it, let's make sure we get all the witnesses involved who actually know the information, and let's stop speculating. I was very clear in the beginning when I said, if you don't want people to speculate, investigate. Christine has never accused anybody of racism. Yes. She has never said it's about race. She's never said things. What we are arguing here is this is not about you and your good white friends and good white folks that you work with. We are talking about a system.
Yeah.
Larry Elder, I just threw he just called it straight. A system. A system that Fannie Lou Hamer said about Mississippi. She said they don't just bring you out, they do it in a subtle way. So people can either believe Fannie Lou Hamer or you can believe this attorney and Trump's lead attorney. The people, it's truly up to the people.
Reecie, can we, Reecie, because I think Reecie has a time crunch. Go ahead, Reecie.
No, I think, look, I don't know if I'm needed here. Y'all got y'all hold it down.
But Reecie, I will say something. If you can add to. Look, I think Tezlin's right, and I think that what I have been saying is that it's not a good look attacking a mom, and also to constantly be defending yourself rather than saying, everyone knows, this family deserves to know what happened to their loved one. We are, it's about defense rather than having compassion for a mother. And if you are in crisis PR, as Tezlin is, that's not a good look in this particular case. Because in this particular case, Nolan Wells is the victim. She is the mother of the victim.
Right. And trying to recontextualize the circumstances through which any of their photos were put out. It was put out in the context of a woman who is hoping and praying that her son is still alive, and that maybe he's dehydrated somewhere on an island, or, whatever the situation may be, and that he can be brought home. I don't think by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, anyone could suggest that she was trying to start a race war or try to paint these people out to be what would have been her worst nightmare, to have been perpetrators in the death of her son. There is absolutely no reason for her to have even had that in her mind. All she wanted at the time was to bring her child home. So I said a couple weeks ago on your show, keep talking, because then we can rack and stack what you're saying. Okay, you said that here. They're going to the island. Hey, yep. Go ahead, write the OJ Did It book. I'm not mad at it, but the part that I am mad about is the way that the family is getting attacked. That is what I am mad about, because at the end of the day, when all the lights go off and all the cameras are down, these parents are dealing with the fact that their son is never coming home. And so
I want them to keep talking, Reecie, because again, they trying to sue all of y'all. I haven't been making posts about this, but now I'm getting a little bit more vocal. But the same way they're coming against y'all, let them keep talking. Because see, I read Civil Procedure too, the book right here. We also can make some defamation as well. So let them keep talking so we can build the claim. Yeah, I read criminal law too. We read books too, tags and all. We read it too. You're not the only one that actually knows how the law works. So no, guys, keep on talking. Y'all not doing enough interviews. I say do it more. Continue to attack, because when they come for you, Don Lemon, as they're doing, because see this, getting them to pleading to get them to do the right thing, and oh man, I can't believe y'all doing. Let's take off the mask and show how ugly it really is. We can't get to the issue if we continue to just turn our head and say, guys, don't do that. No, let's show how they truly don't give a damn about attacking a grieving mom. And then so when you come for her to sue her, because they are, we now can counter sue on the claims that you've made about her character, that you've made about her grieving, about how you damn near trying to kill this woman and put in a mental institute. So let them keep talking. Let's stop giving them PR advice. Because the same way we're not giving PR advice for everybody else, and Christine got to take this, and y'all got to take this, and they sitting up here literally saying they're going to sue you. Let's stop worrying about what their attorney is literally telling them to do. They're following counsel. And I'm not going to sit up here and say these are boys that don't know what they're doing. One of those young men, boys, is a judge. They're very clear about what they're doing. Let's stop playing like they don't know. And guess what? The law says ignorance is what? Never an excuse for the law. So if you want to continue to keep talking and be ignorant and keep making these statements, then let's get to it and keep the podcast going.
Period.
Well, Reecie, thank you. I know Reecie has to go. Thank you, Reecie. We'll see you soon. Clay, go ahead. Go ahead and jump in.
Well, listen, this is a pattern that when we see some of these tragedies, the Black mothers get attacked. It happened to Sabrina Fulton, Trayvon Martin's mother. It happened to Samir Rice, Tamir Rice's mother. We see this on and on. That so you also make the victim find a way to criminalize him. Then you got to criminalize the family. So this is it goes right down into our history. It's not surprising to me at all. My only question is, Teslim, and maybe I'm in conspiracy theory mind. I'm with you. Let them keep talking, right? But in my mind, this just sounds so, in my opinion, so idiotic. Do they know that, okay, a grand jury is not going to indict us? Do they know that they have some kind of cover? Because this just sounds so bizarre, and it's concerning me that they keep on babbling. I mean, it just sounds like the worst strategy ever. And in my mind, I'm thinking, do they know something that we don't know, that they can get away with this? And then are we just going to, in a few months, grand jury, no indictment, let it go? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at what you would want any potential suspect, if you will, you obviously would not want them talking in the media. But we live in a space now, and I just did a presentation on this with the Florida Black Bar Association about the court of public opinion. We are in a space now where now you're having to fight in the court and out the court, you know, with the content creators and mainstream media no longer really exists, you know, that these conversations are going to happen. So I can actually understand why anybody, not just them, why anybody would want to get ahead of their narrative or want to put their narrative out there, whether the grand jury indicts or not, because there's two justices. One that is the court of public opinion, that badge that you have to wear for the rest of your life. And then with the actual, you know, a jury finds or doesn't find. Johnny Cochran, we all know, did it best, you know, with the O.J. Simpson trial, constantly had to explain to Judge Ito and constantly was reprimanded for running out to the media and creating narratives, because believe it or not, it does make a difference with the jury. And I'll give you an example. I did front page news for the Breakfast Club for a couple of years. And in Trump's trial, I did the news every day. And juror number 5, who was a Black woman teacher, they asked her, where did you get your news? And she said, I get my news from the Breakfast Club and TikTok. So when we talk about the potential jury, let's say there is a jury, let's say something, and I don't know, again, this is I'm just making an example on why somebody would want their narrative to be out there. If there is a potential jury, you would actually want your client's information out there, believe it or not. We can look at another example with George Floyd. If you look at the George Floyd matter and the Chauvin case, Derek Chauvin, go back and look at the witnesses that actually got on the stand and they said, why did you record? They said, well, I knew I needed to record because, you know, that's what we're taught now. Where they were taught that because everything from Trayvon Martin on 2012 on told people to take your cell phones out and record, which, by the way, Attorney Crump had a lot to do with that as well. So you are educating future jurors. You are educating the public. You are educating that public perception that still is a very real thing that sometimes can be more punitive than what the court can find. So although I understand black and white, like, oh, why would they be doing this? Why are we doing this? I can also see why somebody doesn't want their name just, you know, without them saying something. However, it also still puts you at a risk for everything you say can and will be used against you.
Straight up.
Maybe not necessarily in the court of law, but certainly in the court of public opinion.
Wow, this is this has been interesting. So do you expect to hear anything from the administration or the FBI or the Attorney General? Do you expect to hear, you think that they're going to respond to that letter from the CBC?
I think the DOJ, and this is another thing I want people to, I would hope so, but let's look at the reality of the administration that we're dealing with, especially to the folks that said voting doesn't matter. It kind of actually does. The sheriff that was elected in Mississippi, when you look at the DA that makes a decision, when you look at the state attorney that makes a, again, going back to the George Floyd case, without having Keith Ellison as a state attorney that said, let's bring in outside prosecutors to make sure, we conduct this investigation correct, without having the jurors who were informed, without having all of those components in place, you tell me, Don, is a sheriff that's elected by the people of Mississippi, will they allow it? The medical examiner is also an appointed position that ties back to somebody who's elected. The DOJ was Trump's former attorney. So you tell me, if we think something, what we do know is we can put on the record that we've made the ask. What we do know is that we've taken it as high as we possibly can. And what we do know is people need to understand how each and every last one of these positions, from governor to sheriff to medical examiner to all things involved, all have some connection to election. And let me be clear for the trolls who say, well, you on here helping Democrats. I am independent, Don, as you know. That's how, you and I first started talking. This is not me being a Democrat shield or whatever y'all want to call it. I'm telling you through my push the line training, which we train people how to run for office, how to work on campaigns. We need to educate people on how these cover up. What I want people to get from this is you can undo the covers if you start becoming more involved in the system and actually understanding how things work. You cannot blame Attorney Crump when he's not a state attorney. You cannot blame him for bringing forth a civil matter when it's up to the state who's actually elected. You cannot blame him for asking the DOJ to get involved when we don't run the DOJ. You cannot say, well, damn, the Supreme Court never did anything, when Trump literally appointed the Supreme Court. And when activists like myself were telling Joe Biden, expand the court, expand the court. Everybody told me, oh, you don't know how it worked. We can't do that. Breaking news, everybody. However it worked then is not how it's working now.
Straight up.
So this has to be used as a way to say, Democrats, if you get back in power, how are we going to move forward? Not just on Nolan Wells, but period. Because what you saw with the crime bill 1994, it's about to be 2.0. So this is way bigger than Nolan Wells. And that's what I'm trying to advocate for, Don, that those dots are not being truly connected in a lot of the conversations I've been hearing, which is why I'm here today. Thank you.
And just a point,
coming on. Go ahead,
just
Clay.
a point, Mississippi, they have a Senate election coming up in November. I've interviewed two of the candidates. Sidney Hyde-Smith is up for re-election in Mississippi, who, for last I checked, she said, I don't even know anything about the Nolan Wells case, something like that. And that state has some of the lowest voter turnout rates in the country. So to your point, if we had a Mike Espy senator, maybe there would be a little bit of change, or not Governor Tate Reeves, who celebrates Confederate Heritage Month every April in Mississippi.
And I want to throw this straight out. I came in you should have never invited me, Don. I want to throw this straight out to Democrat Socialists of America as well. And again, let me say this I was Bernie Sanders' racial justice director. I flipped Michigan, was credited as one of the ones that flipped Michigan. I was the only African-American on the ground in 2015. I say that receipt because it's important that you know what perspective I'm coming from. This go for Bernard. Let me say it real clear. Bernard and every last socialist, Democratic socialist, and every last white progressive, y'all ain't said a damn thing about Nolan Wells. And let's also be clear about it. If you go to the Democrat Socialists of America national page, they say nothing about race. So DSA, want to make sure you hear me well. Although the affordability argument is there, although, yes, Black women, we put a post up yesterday, the Black women are identifying more with Democrat Socialists. But I also want to make sure y'all know that Democrat Socialists of America, they ain't really too much touching on this race issue. And that goes for Bernard Sanders and everybody under him, Don. So as the country's changing on politics, everything can't be fixed by just affordability. Everything can be fixed by everybody making $15 an hour and all is well. There is still something that needs to be talked about that Fannie Lou Hamer said that needs to be talked about. And Bernard ain't talking about it, and everybody else under him. They are not talking about race in these so-called platforms that everybody's excited for. And I know people don't like that because y'all like socialists, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the community safety net. But we cannot have a safety net that does not include dismantling racism beyond just economics.
Clay, I think we're done here for the Tess and Figaro show.
I'm sorry, Don. You haven't invited me on, so I had a lot to say.
She spit. She spit.
No, when you got this, there's no need for me to jump in. Clay, did you want to say something before we?
No, I've interviewed DSA folks. I interviewed Mandani last week, and I asked him this question. You know, it can't be just class and not race, or class and a little bit of race. It has to be deeply interconnected. So it's my first time being on with you. I appreciate it.
And if you interview El Said, please let him know. How do you pronounce the name? I want to make sure.
El
Said.
Oh, I interviewed him.
Please tell him that Tesla Figueroa said that he needs to contact New Era Detroit.
Okay.
The actual brothers on the ground. And I'm saying it as the one that helped flip Michigan. And I met him in 2015. So he can keep acting like he's not seeing the post. But I don't want no hard feelings if I start getting real loud about it. Yeah. They still did not flip black voters.
Yeah, they did not.
So again, Rashida Tlaib and everybody else, let me know when y'all gonna go talk to the homies in the hood. And I don't want no hard feelings about it, Don, when I start coming out saying they didn't talk to no black people. So I'm letting it be known to you and anybody else, they're waiting on the call.
Well, El Said has been on this show a couple of times, and not within the last couple of days or so, but I will ask him about it if we have the opportunity to get an interview, and Clay has interviewed him as well. Yeah. However, I was at the CBC last week in Mississippi, and the whole idea of the DSA was brought up, and progressives, and the older folks who were there said, look, black people have been progressive. Dr. King was a progressive. So there's nothing new, they say, about the progressive, and I said the energy is on the progressive side. That might be true, but what their belief is that black folks have already been progressive, basically saying this is nothing new for African Americans, for black people in this country.
That's very true. But that still had nothing to do with these millions and millions of dollars that they're raising. And not also including black grassroots organizations. So that's true. But saying we've always been there don't have a damn thing to do what I'm talking about. We're right here now. And I want to know, what programs are you funding in the black community right now? Mm-hmm. Not a promise on what you're going to do down the road. Oh, once I get in, I'm going to do this. No. You can go fund one of those back to school programs right now. You can go fund one of the right now. They're gathering information and school supplies. You got it in your budget. You spend it on everything else. So let's start talking about what you're going to do right now, not down the road. So I think that gives them a pass, Don, in my opinion, when we say black people have always been progressive. Yeah, we got that. But right now, you guys are raising millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you're able to ignore Detroit because Rashida Tlaib, with all respect to her, she has Dearborn on lock, because her messaging aligns with the people that she represents. And Detroit, there's two things: voter suppression and voter.
I'm sorry, Don. I have to head out. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, Clay.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Tessa.
I'll say this and I'll end it. When you look at cities like Detroit, one of the blackest cities in the country, that have been struggling literally, from a financial standpoint. And because they've given up, many of them who are involved, yes, but many of them have given up on politics altogether because they trust nobody. And so you're able to skip over them and totally ignore their needs because Michigan is so strong in other areas. Again, I helped Bernie Sanders win. We won by less than 2%. So I'm not saying this as a way to say I don't think that the progressive movement is a good movement. It is, but it also needs black leadership and it needs black policies. And they still have yet to have that on the national level. And I do not want that conversation just overlooked.
Taslan, thank you. Now, by the way, just for the right context, these were black members of the CBC, yes, saying that what the DSA or what the progressives are doing is not new to them because black people have always been progressive. Right. This is not a new thing. Yeah, that's right.
It's certainly not.
Yeah. Thank you, Taslan. Thank you, Taslan. You're the best. Will you come back?
I will. I've been waiting. I've been trying to, and I'll say this, and I really will be quiet. I've been encouraging all of the content creators. Keep doing what you're doing. I've been trying to be as supportive. Lawyers are available. If they have to sue all 85 people, I'm here to help. I have literally, because of my work involved on this case, in addition to every other case from Carmelo Anthony and so forth, I try to really kind of stay behind the scenes, Don, because I think what you guys do is so powerful and I don't want to overstep those things. But today when you text me, I said, okay, enough is enough. It's time to clear the room, as you will. When I was trained in the military, we actually have a training called Clear the Room, just to kind of straighten this out. So if there's questions that you ever have, I'm happy to get on. I do want to be mindful. There's an ongoing investigation. And I think you're doing brilliant work, but there also has just been, we have to make this very plain, in what we're up against. So thank you, Don, for having me. I appreciate it. And sorry I took a lot of time, but I had a lot to say.
No, I love that you did it, and we want you to come back. And I would love to just let you two, you and Officer Tater,
Sam, what up?
Come on and do the live together.
Yeah, let's set it up. Let's set it up.
No editing, just do the live.
Yeah, let's just do the live. Yeah, let's do the live. I'm looking forward to it, Officer Tatum. This is Officer Tez. Since it's just a moniker, I'm going to go by Officer Tez moving forward. So Tez versus Tatum. Y'all encourage it in the comments. And not from a click standpoint. It's just he's, I've been going on Fox News since 2015. Everybody told me, oh, you're going on Fox News. You'll ruin your career. You should never go on Fox News. But now people get it. I've been trained by the best. I've argued them all, from Charlie Kirk to Megyn Kelly to Sean Hannity to Tommy Lauren. You name it, I've gone toe to toe. And guess what? I'm undefeated with it. So come on, Tatum. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. So you don't want to come on in the room with somebody that got the facts. So set it up, Don. Y'all set it up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Have a great day. All right. We'll be in touch soon. Thank you. Thank you. Tezin Figaro, everyone. I mean, she is, there you go. So look, we stayed a little, I don't want to overstay my welcome. We stayed a little bit long and I got to get ready because I have another thing. But so now you're informed. Okay. I mean, again, I hate to keep saying this, but I will. Where else do you get this in independent journalism? There are some great folks out there doing independent journalism. They're doing it in their own way, and they're doing a fantastic job. Okay, I'm not shading anyone, but I think this show is different. I think the organic nature of this show, and that way that we're able to pivot and be nimble and let people hear and hear from all people with a diversity of opinions. Right? And not necessarily people who are just going to come on to lie. That's a whole different thing. No false equivalence here. I just love the community that we have built here, and to have truth tellers like Teslin on, and Reecie and Clay, and thought leaders. It's just really, I love it. Okay. So thank you for supporting this community, and thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for supporting this community, and thank you for being a part of this community. Let me say that again. Thank you for supporting this community, and thank you for being a part of this community. It is fantastic to be able to build such a powerful community and channel and network from people
how I feel
who
about
are
my people,
my boss, and that means you.
Yes, I can agree with
the
that.
Subscribers, the viewers, the members. Thank you.
Hey,
so
matter
much.
of fact,
So now you're informed. If you want to know anything about this, go to donlemon.com.
Emotion,
and just before you can even enter the page, there's a bar that pops up and it says the DL plus DL, anything goes towards back. Click on that link. See where
look, y'all, that's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is I got another interview with Officer Race Batum, Young Tatum, right? I got another interview, so we're gonna come back and listen to that one, because I know that one's gonna make my skin boil, and I didn't want to put them on the same video. So for y'all that can stick around. We're gonna go through that interview, and then I'm also gonna let the people speak, and then we're gonna probably do a late night crime tonight as well. Jay Lava, I'm working it out. You understand what I'm saying? Thanks to everybody that threw me some jewels and all of that. I appreciate your support. Thanks for everybody that subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now and the like button. And when you come back, make sure you watch it on the landscape version. That way you can see the chat clearly, right? You can see the chat clearly, because I know it might be a little jumbled or a little small on the portrait. I know y'all come in on the portrait, but when y'all come back in as members, come in on the landscape. That way you can interact with everybody across all the chats. Thank you. Thank you so much for the jewels. She's so sweet. I thank you. I thank you so much. But we're going to look, I'm going to come right back. We're going to do the interview with Tatum and Cuomo, because Cuomo is probably going to be next on my devil's list. And then we got another little joint. So I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna mold you, fold you, scold you about being on code. You know, I got 4 words for you. I need you to go ahead and not these nuts. Not the, I don't know what I got. This. I need you to go ahead and subscribe for the vibes, like for the spike in the algorithm. Come back and hype that thing too. You know, comment your vomit, share if you care about getting Black empowerment everywhere. Please do that on the platforms that we are on, Jones. And just to bring it on home, I got love, peace, blessings, and aloha. I'm out the Doha for Shoha. You already know.